My father disappeared for 20 years. Now he's back with a big inheritance, but only if I take care of his dying wife. He vanished when I was 8 years old. One day he was there, laughing on the couch with us while we watched cartoons, and the next day, he was gone. No note, no explanation, not even bothering to pack his stuff. My mom tried to pretend she was strong for a while, but she just grew more and more bitter. And I grew up hearing that he was a coward, an irresponsible man who abandoned his own family to live who knows what kind of life. For 20 years, I thought he was dead. It was easier to believe that than to imagine he chose to live away from us, until he showed up again. It was last Tuesday. I was getting home from work, tired, with a takeout container under my arm, when I saw a black car parked in front of my building. A driver in a suit was waiting for me with a folder in his hands. "Are you Rafael Gomez?" he asked. I nodded, suspicious. He handed me an envelope and said only, "Your father would like to see you." I almost laughed. I wanted to tell him it was a mistake, that my father had been dead for 2 decades, but there was a photo inside the envelope. It was him. Older, yes, with completely white hair, but still with that same indecipherable look in his eyes. Along with the photo was an address and a bus ticket to a small town upstate. I stared at it for hours. I called my mom, of course. She went ballistic. "If you go, Rafael, don't bother coming back here," she said, her voice cold. It was the kind of phrase I expected to hear from her, but even so I went. The place was an old, isolated mansion, high up in the mountains. A male nurse met me at the gate. "Mr. Gomes is upstairs, but he's weak. He can't talk for long." When I walked into the room, I barely recognized the man in the bed. He was thin, breathing with difficulty, but his eyes were fixed on me as if he knew exactly what he was doing. "Rafael," he whispered, his voice raspy. I didn't know what to say. I just stood there, trying to figure out what kind of game this was. He held out his hand and pointed to a folder on the dresser. "Inheritance, all yours. But I need you." I picked up the folder. There were documents, deeds, bank accounts, all in my name. But there was a condition, provided that Rafael agrees to take care of my wife, Cecilia, until the end of her life. And that's when the shock hit me like a punch. "Wife?" He nodded, with difficulty. A nurse came into the room and signaled that the visit was over. But before I left, he murmured something that sent a chill down my spine. She doesn't know who you are." I went downstairs in a daze, the folder in my hands and my head spinning. My mom spent my whole life telling me my father left us for some random mistress. And now here I was, in his house, hearing that this other woman was dying, and that I had to take care of her. I left the mansion without saying anything, just to get some air. I stood outside, looking at the pristine garden, the cloudy sky, trying to absorb the absurdity of the situation. One of the staff approached discreetly.